So how do you deal with setbacks in your business, and do you have a short-term plan for how to deal with that? So anybody care to share about like some setbacks they've had and how they've overcome them and moved forward or learned from them? Okay, Tristan. Go ahead, Tristan.
I find my setbacks are really my, I'll always bite off more than I can chew. And it doesn't really matter how much I think I can control my ADHD, I do procrastinate. And although that has also been the clearest way to know what I need to systematize, I can't fix what I can't do, but I can definitely identify that needs the primary focus because I'm not doing anything special. It is routine. That's almost part of the difficulty in it. And it's still a setback that I deal with on the regular. Every time I'm growing, I'm pushing myself further and I'm finding where can I push and where do I need to outsource and systemize completely because I can't be the problem in my business.
Good point. I think I mentioned this before that one of the biggest setbacks in my business was actually me. And Santiago can kind of attribute to that is that in January, I told myself and my team that I think I need to listen to my own advice. So here I'm giving clients advice, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should take my own advice. And so once I did that and really took a hard look at everything, when I was doing okay, but I could be better. And once I did that, I went, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. And of course, it helped my clients too because it became more top of mind for me, some of those things that I was working on for myself. And so I would naturally bring them to my clients' attention. Anybody else have some thoughts? Want to share some situations that happened that maybe, no? Okay. So one thing that I have been struggling with until recently was marketing my business. And so, I would hire people to get leads, and Santiago can say I could hire somebody that was supposed to help with, do your website and all this stuff. And I literally spent thousands of dollars. I mean, I spent a lot of money on it. And, it just wasn't working. It wasn't, I even tried to, the ROI respect. I tried pay for performance. I tried all of those things. And so I finally got connected with a couple people, and Mark can kind of speak to this as well, that what this agency does, and they're very low priced. They really are fair price. I wouldn't say low. They're fair priced. And they're really invested in small and medium-sized businesses and helping them in all different phases of their marketing. They have a big team behind them. So that means they have a process that's proven for them that they can put in place quickly, like in 6 weeks or less, where this other person that I worked with took like 7 or 8 months and there really was no results. That was too bad. But, it's just, I know it's one of those, that's where in January I had to go, uh-oh. And so, but yeah, so that's kind of, what that happened. And so, but what I learned was more than what I needed to have, like a website, the SEO and all that, was an actual marketing strategy that I never really took time to say, what is my strategy? And so when I met with this group and they started asking me those kinds of questions, I realized the strategy I had in my mind thought would be the right strategy was actually not really. I needed to flip it and change things. And once I did that, things just started to fall into place. But it was having that person that could counsel me, guide me in the strategy so that then they could apply the right kind of marketing tools to help me meet that strategy. So any thoughts by anybody on that?
Well, they say half the battle is won when you become aware of what your issue is, right? If we're not aware, we run around like a dog chasing its tail. And so kudos to you that you finally looked at it and you were willing to be honest with yourself and say, I needed this. And then you went and got it changed. But I think most of us, especially if it's an individual who's just starting out in the business, because I know when I first started, this is the hurdles that I went through. Didn't know how to start a business, right? Didn't know how to run a business. In my head, it was like I thought I knew. but actually doing it, it's like you see people jump hurdles and you go, I could do that. And then when you run, as you come close to the hurdle, you like, I can't do that. I can't jump over because the hurdle now from here looks like here. And you're like, no, I can't do that. So it's always like what I say, the ABCs of business. You start to, awareness is always the first. And then you be aware. And then once you are able to be aware, you can then make better choices and you can make better changes. So awareness is always key. Yeah, that's what.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But then I needed someone to help me be aware of the right things.
correct. That's why we
I
need
mean,
mentors. Yeah,
right,
that's why
right.
we need mentors. That's why we need groups of mastermind, because everybody can say, I do, oh, I a thought will come, and then and so it's very important to have a cohesive group of mastermind individuals who love to help each other, have no other intentions, just to make a difference, and that's how it works.
Absolutely. Okay, Tristan, you had a comment?
I did, but I'm here. I did, but I'm here all the time, so I'd rather just go last and let MA go first. Mark.
Okay. Okay. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, that's one of the first things I do when I work with a company is the marketing plan. And people think that they need a business plan, but they don't know what the pieces are. They have a financial plan, but if you don't know where you're heading or why it works, I mean, just to tell you how vast marketing is, I've got 30 ways to internet market. So you have to understand a lot of different pieces to know which pieces work for you.
So, Mark, do you want to put in the chat that link to that site? I think everybody could really, if you just click on
Yeah.
the little yellow chat, yeah, I think that'd be great.
About
And
every 3 weeks, I offer a free marketing class, and everybody's invited.
yeah, I think that'd be great. And Alan, you had something that you wanted to share? Are you still with us, Alan?
No, I put. Did I
Yeah,
put my?
I was just gonna.
Oh, sorry. It's okay,
Yeah,
Alan. Go ahead.
yeah. So I was just gonna. I was just gonna say, especially for a newer business, before you invest heavily in marketing, having been in sales my entire career, the one thing I can say is that the prospect and the customer is buying you before they're buying your service. So I cannot emphasize enough how important networking groups are, networking events are. And if you invest your money in anything, I would invest it in that first, because the nice thing is you're sitting in front of the prospect at the networking event. You can read the body language, you can adjust your speech pattern and all that on the spot. And again, they're buying you before they buy anything.
And Tristan, you had something you wanted to share?
I definitely want to just also piggyback on what Alan had said. I also find that if you go to a place consistently and you go there with the sole goal of adding value to whatever the host is trying to accomplish in that meeting, two things will happen. One, everyone who might think about working with you is going to see real sincerity in your ability to give in this time. Here's the one that we don't see and we really need to appreciate. The halo effect is a real thing.
Yep.
There are rooms that if I have a closed meeting with people, I come in looking like I'm on a red carpet. And there are other rooms where I feel like I need to point out that red carpet as I'm walking up. That influence on someone's decision of thinking, are they able to complete it, is overwhelming in that subconscious mind of like, it gets rid of a sense of doubt. So being consistently adding value, and really you get to practice good advice, but don't say you can solve the problem. Literally give them the information. The people aren't going to do it most of the time anyways, but the people who will hire you will consistently see this pattern of willing to offer information because they're going to hire you to execute it. Most of what we're talking about is talking versus doing. I went too long on that. Anna, can I get like 2 more minutes? Because I actually have.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Anyone raise their hand and I'll cut it short. I find very often that if people are implementing a lot of tactics, it will feel like strategy. This is difficult because even if you stop and realize that, oh, there is no actually strategy being applied. When you're doing that many tactics, the likelihood that you are tracking them, never mind have a process for reviewing, to have any kind of what's doing traction, because you're doing a bunch of experiments when you're doing a lot of marketing tactics. And it's amazing how often people do not realize that they're not the same thing. Because when we're doing a lot, it doesn't actually mean I can shoot a machine gun and miss 1,000 things, or I can be artillery, take a shot, be very concise about knowing where it went and how come, and by that third shot, the results are massively different. But when we're busy, it can be hard. And I'm sure at a point you had to really pull yourself from the weeds and just like even isolate these things. Like, what was this thing even doing, and how was it trying to achieve that goal? And if you went to another vertical, you're like, same goal, totally different how. There's no consistency here. And I think that's where people start to realize, oh, there isn't an underlying strategy here. I have a lot of good tactics that have a likelihood of working, but statistically, their probability is very low because there isn't anything that's actually aiming them towards a consistent goal. That's it.
Great, thank you. Karen, you had some thoughts?
I do. I wanted to also echo what Alan and Tristan is saying. When you go to these networking meetings, also, when you're engaged with someone else, think about what you learned from them, because they are actually telling you what they want and what they need. And if you listen, then you can adjust what it is that you're selling.
Yep.
Really good point.
Absolutely. And the key to that, Karen, also is when you follow up with them, you can show that you listen by saying, by the way, you mentioned XYZ. And you can like kind of brag that you listened to what they said. So that absolutely.
So that kind of, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, now this is just, I'm going to go off. I'm going to tell you a little story, but this really does work, okay? So I hadn't dated in a zillion years. Then finally...
You don't look young enough to be a zillion years out of the dating.
So I end up going out. This old friend, which I thought was just a friend, says, hey, baby, I was, interested. I had no idea. So anyway, says, hey, let's go to a concert. So we're out walking around at a Stevie Nicks concert, waiting for her to come on. And I'm mentioning different things that I like, that I'm interested in, and what I like to do and how I like to spend my time. Then when we go on another date, oh my golly jeepers, I arrive and I can hear that the music is playing. Instantly after I knock, the music changes into the exact song that I said was my favorite.
Wow.
Do you think this man didn't get 10 bonus points?
Did you
Because he
marry
listened
him?
and paid attention. Now take that to work. People think that you aren't listening. They think that you are not paying attention to what they are saying. And when you follow up showing that you did, it makes them feel special. We forget how we can make the other person feel. And that's what makes them want to be around us. They want to do work with us.
And that's a good point, Karen. And also, what I will expand on that is not so much that, how we made them feel, but we have to remember walk in their shoes, right?